Hi everybody, it's Peter from RoboFlow here. Let me show you how easy it is to use RoboFlow Inference API to auto-annotate your images. This is really useful in at least two cases. First of all, when you already have a data set and when you already trained the model using RoboFlow, but you notice that the model underperforms in some specific edge cases. It is very common practice to gather new images that would represent that edge case and add them to your dataset and retrain the model. You can leverage your existing model and RoboFlow Inference API to auto-annotate those images. Second of all, when you would like to kickstart your new dataset and you noticed some model in RoboFlow universe that have some classes that you would like to use or some very similar objects, then you could leverage that model to auto-annotate your new images. Okay, so here I am logged into my RoboFlow account and I would like to add new images into my football player detection project. I already have the dataset that is annotated and I already have the model that is trained using that dataset. I just want to add new images. To do that, we can use RoboFlow Auto Annotate script that is accessible in one of our repositories. The link to that script is in the description. Okay, so let's follow installation instructions. First of all, we need to clone the repository. And then we need to get inside the directory containing the script. The next step is to create Python virtual environment to separate your code over here from other projects that you have on your machine. So let's copy that command to create VM. Let's get into that VM. Now we need to install the script inside our virtual environment. And we are basically ready to go. The next step is to set up virtual environment variable with your RoboFlow API key. So let's copy that part of the command into the terminal. And the API key can be found in your RoboFlow profile under the settings, RoboFlow API, and the private key over here is the one that we are looking for. So let's copy that, go back to the terminal, and instead of those three dots, let's paste the API key over here and hit enter. It is important to keep your API key as private as possible. Don't commit that into your repository, especially when it's public. Now the last step is to actually execute the command to annotate. So let's copy that from the repository README into the terminal. And we need to fill those missing pieces over here. In the meantime, I decided to increase the font size in the terminal a bit so it would be a little bit easier for you to read what I'm doing. The first thing is input image directory. I already prepared a set of images that I would like to annotate, and they are located over here in that directory. So I will use pwd to have full path to that directory. And inside that directory, when I hit ls, I see images directory. So here under source image directory, I will just paste the path to the general directory, and then I will type images at the end. I want the results to be saved in the same directory, just under different subdirectory. So let's call it labels. Now I need to provide information about the model that I would like to use to auto-annotate. So let's go back to RoboFlow, into my projects, football player detection, deploy. And over here, I need to get project ID and model version. So I have my project ID in the path over here. So it's football player detection and those 4 characters at the end. So let's copy that. And the version of the model that I would like to use is the second one. And the only thing that is left to do is press the enter and let it annotate automatically. So you immediately see that we see RoboFlow workspace being fetched and RoboFlow project being fetched. And now we just loop over the images and save the annotation JSON in the labels directory. We can see it happening in the real time. If we go to labels, we see that the labels for already processed images are already here. And it's done. So let's test if my newly annotated images will get correctly uploaded into my already existing project. I rearranged my windows a little bit so it would be easy for me to drag and drop images and labels. So let's now go to annotate, upload more images, grab those two directories and just drop them over here. And we immediately see that the images were loaded, but also on the thumbnail, we see that annotations are also visible. We can examine that into the annotation tool. And here on the slightly larger screen, we see that all the classes ball, goalkeeper, player, referee were loaded and correctly annotated. And now we are ready for dataset refinement. So over here, for example, our current model were not able to correctly detect that player. So we would be able to just manually add that bounding box around the player over here and continue the work for all other images. This way we can add more images, but most of the heavy lifting is already done by our model. And that's it. I hope that you find it useful. I definitely do. I use it all the time during model refinement to spend as little time as possible on labeling.